You're watching our special coverage of the 100-day performance of the Modi government. Joining us today is the Minister for Environment and Information and Broadcasting, Prakash Javadekar. Mr. Javadekar, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Let me start by asking you about the Environment Ministry to start with, sir. What would you consider to be your biggest achievement as far as your 100-day report card is concerned? Because in terms of actual decision-making, the measures that you decided to undertake of online submissions of both forest and environmental clearances, that's the only real decision, if I could call it that. Can you take us through the other decisions that you believe are your achievements in the first 100 days?
Yes, definitely. First, we have deleted the word from our computer. We have deleted the word delay from our systems. Otherwise, Environment Ministry had become known for a roadblocking, a speed breaking ministry, return of license permit quota raj. We have dispelled with all this, and we are taking decisions. Now there is not a single file pending on my table, and we are taking where the files are pending. At each director's levels, we are asking them, and every weekly review we are taking. It should not only due appraisal should happen, and immediately files should be disposed of. Either way, and the sole motto is to protect environment and to take decisions to allow economic growth. So growth and environment protection can go hand in hand. That's the second.
Okay.
The third, which is very important, is about defense. The 6,000 kilometers border roads was bogged down with too many environmental hurdles. What we have removed is not the conditions of compensatory environmental or afforestation, but what we have given is a general approval so that it becomes a seamless process. And for the 100 kilometers from LOC, all border roads plus all strategic defense infrastructure have come under general approval.
Okay.
In 170 left-wing extremism affected districts, the roads we have cleared. All the linear projects, be it transmission line, be it irrigation canal, be it road, rail, all kinds of pipelines, all these will now be very simpler processes have been made. Then 5 hectares and about diversion of forest, files used to come to us. I discussed with my officials, I studied it, and when I found that 90% of those files which are coming to me are below 40 hectares, means below 100 acres.
Right.
So these are the small development, small diversions as far as, so we have given these to the regional committees where the states have also been made stakeholders. So there are many positive things we have done for growth as well as environment protection.
All right, so you've articulated for us how you're trying to change the perception of the Environment Ministry being a speed breaker ministry. But if I could ask you about specifics, you just told us, Mr. Javadekar, that you don't have a single pending file on your table, that you've been clearing files. Now, you had set up, your government under the leadership of the Prime Minister had set up the Wildlife Board. The Wildlife Board had cleared several projects. That legality of the Wildlife Board has been questioned by the Supreme Court of India. What happens to the clearances that have been passed by the Wildlife Board, and how do you hope to reconstitute the Wildlife Board because it is fallen foul of the Environment Protection Act as has been articulated by the Supreme Court?
No, let me tell you, as the matter is sub judice, I don't want to discuss it further, so there should be no embarrassment to anybody. The issue is this, that we have constituted in the first phase, we constituted the bare minimum, which is the standing committee of the National Board of Wildlife. But following that, 2 days ago, we have constituted the whole National Board of Wildlife. So already that process was on, that is already completed, and the facts will be put before the court. And I think court can appreciate it, and there will be no issue.
So there will be no issue with the decisions that were taken by the Wildlife Board and the decisions that were cleared by the Wildlife Board, you believe?
Let me tell you, always there is a bigger board and there is a standing committee. The standing committee only takes decisions. The National Board of Wildlife, of which Prime Minister is the chairman, meets as a policy guideline body once or twice in a year, but the regular meetings happen of the standing committee. So standing committee is already constituted.
Let me ask you, Mr. Javadekar, because your ministry is also
And
set up.
Nobody has challenged that.
Okay, let me ask you about the high-level committee that has been set up to look at appropriate amendments to a whole bunch of acts, from the Wildlife Protection Act, the Water Prevention Act, the Environment and the Forest Conservation Act. I understand the 30 days have been given for public consultation to invite comments as far as the amendments are concerned. How quickly do you hope to move these amendments to Parliament, sir? Can we expect these amendments being moved in the winter session of Parliament?
You can expect some amendments to be moved in winter session, because let me tell you, what is this? This effort is an ongoing process, and it has to be a continuous review of all rules, regulations in the context of what is the requirement of the country and what is the best interest which will ensure protection of environment and as well as ensure growth.
So you're saying that by the winter session of Parliament, you will be moving appropriate amendments to some of these acts at least?
Yes, definitely. I hope so.
Let me also ask you about the environment regulator, because once again the Supreme Court has come down very hard on the government. You had a deadline of September to set up an environment regulator. You've now decided to set up a committee before you actually set up an environment regulator. Why the hesitation to actually set up a regulator, sir, as per the Supreme Court's directive?
No, let us not mix up the facts, but basically this is also a sub judice matter which I can't discuss in details, and you will also not expect me to do that. But issue is very simple. 2011, the Lafarge judgment came. From that only this discussion about appropriate authority, preferably regulator, started. And what has happened is 3 years, the UPA government did nothing. Did nothing. And therefore, we are a new government which has completed just 100 days. So it's a basic decision. We need to consult states. We need many more things. So I think the committee which was constituted by the cabinet has already met once, and will give our inputs, all inputs, to the Honorable Supreme Court. And I think this is the facts of the matter we will put before the court. Beyond that, I should not talk more about, as it's a sub judice matter.
Sure. One of the other areas of controversy, which has also got legal implications, is the notification as far as the eco-sensitive zone around the Okla Bird Sanctuary is concerned. There's been a lot of talk about that notification having been issued almost 15-20 days ago, but we still haven't seen it. Are you in agreement with the ideas that have come from the developers as far as what the radius should be? What is the view of your ministry, and how soon can we see you issue that notification as far as the eco zone around the Okla Bird Sanctuary is concerned? Because investments
let me tell you again.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
It is a classic case of how balanced we are viewing the whole scenario. First, there are hapless and helpless thousands of youngsters who have put in their money. They have started paying EMI, but still their flats are ready. More than 40,000 people are stranded because they cannot go into their houses. The business stuck is another thing. But more importantly, there is marshy land around. So when the government, state government suggested only 100 meters around it, there is a patches where there is a marshy land. You can't allow marshy land to be again developed by somebody. So that has to be protected. And therefore, our notification will give you the final idea of how we are putting it. We are protecting environment and also ensuring that the problem doesn't remain.
So do you support 100 meters, sir, or do you not support 100 meters? Does your ministry support the 100-meter zoning idea? It doesn't support.
Some places, see, we will give justice to all those whose flats are ready. At the same time, we will also care about the nature, where nature should be protected and where there is a marshy land.
When will we see this notification being issued, Mr. Javadekar? Because as I said, we've been waiting for almost a month now.
Very soon. Sooner than but now sooner than later, because we have already made decisions. Now the technical process is on.
Okay, another matter which is in court, and of course in court today, is the whole issue of coal block deallocations. We don't know what the Supreme Court is finally going to decide, but your colleague, the Power and Coal Minister Piyush Goyal, said that he's going to work very closely with you to try and expedite environmental clearances to ensure that the coal auctions can actually take place. Can you give us a sense of where things currently stand as far as your ministry is concerned on the entire issue of coal block allocation?
After the Supreme Court decision, we will definitely sit together, and then I have some plan in my mind to appoint more teams to go do due diligence without compromising on quality of inspection and processes of environmental clearances. But if we can come up with more speed the environment clearances of the mines, then the bidding you can receive good bidding, because people will definitely bid more for land, for the site which is clear of environment and forest clearances.
But how soon can we actually, I mean, we are of course waiting for the Supreme Court's decision, but how soon do you believe that once the decision is out, you will be able to expedite the process of environmental clearances? And related to that, in order for Coal India to enhance production, some environmental clearance issues are pending. How soon can we expect your ministry to expedite that as well?
We had 2 meetings with Coal and Power Ministry. We have already more than, there were hundreds of requests from Coal Ministry and many things were pending. We have practically cleared many things. Now what has remained, with next week after this coal judgment, we'll once again sit and review finally.
How is your ministry looking at what...
I think we have already increased, we have increased from 5 MTPs to 6 MTPs. So there is by 20 million tons of coal can be extracted without any new processes involved.
How does your government intend to deal with the massive environmental violations in the mining sector? We've seen the bans coming in Karnataka and Goa. We've seen what the Supreme Court has then ordered as far as those state governments are concerned. Now there are concerns and mines being shut down in states like Jharkhand, etc. What is the position of your government? How are you going to try and sort out this issue? We've seen the MB Shah Inquiry Committee putting out its report, which is in Parliament. What is your government's position? How do you intend to clear the mining sector up, sir?
On the MB Shah recommendations, we have taken it very seriously, because as I told you, we don't want to destroy the environment and still allow the growth to happen in a eligible fashion. And therefore what we are doing is, our NIRI has already preparing a report which is expected next week, and by that time we can then arrive at about what is the carrying capacity and many other aspects. And we are taking decisions on after due diligence. But we'll take decisions and you will soon know what we are going to make. But we don't want to stop the wheel.
Time for us to take a break. When we return, we continue our conversation with the INB and Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar.